initials ILCS, which is the initials of the architect and the bishop at the time. It does not stand for I Love Cambridge Students.
Alex.
And that was built, I believe, in 1624, I think. Definitely just thought of that off the top of my head, not because it's got it written on there or anything. So in front of us now, connecting the two halves of St John's, is the Bridge of Sighs, although its official name is the New Bridge, named for the new court. They're not very good at naming bridges in Cambridge. They're all got very obvious, very simple names, as you'll see as we go on. But it's nicknamed the Bridge of Sighs by Queen Victoria. She came on a visit here one year and said that it looked just like the Bridge of Sighs in Venice. And everyone went, yes, of course, Your Majesty. What a brilliant observation, well done. Didn't learn anything like that. But obviously nobody wanted to disagree with her. And the nickname stuck. And the students actually thought it was quite appropriate, as the original bridge in Venice is known for connecting the courtrooms on one side of the canal and the execution chambers on the other. And as prisoners walked across, they would sigh their last sigh as they looked out over Venice. And here it connects the student rooms on one side and the exam halls on the other. Students sighing. There's Kitchen Bridge, or the Wren Bridge, one of the lowest bridges, and we'll often hear this noise. It's the oldest trick in the book, gets them every time.
The day, the weather is lovely as well.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
So behind me now, over my right shoulder, sorry.
What does mooring mean?
Mooring means no parking, basically.
Oh, look at that.
Not allowed to tie your boat up. Behind me over my right shoulder is the front of the new court building of St John's, designed by Henry Hutchinson. It's meant to actually be completely symmetrical, but it isn't quite. If you look very closely, you'll see that there are a couple of minor details that mean that it isn't quite. Most prominently, a statue of an eagle above the central arch. It's got its head turned away from the river, and that's because they didn't want it to look across at Trinity College. Because Trinity and St John's are the biggest rivals, they decided to have the eagle turn its head away in disgust. It's also known as the wedding cake, this building, because of its three-tier structure. And its sole purpose is student accommodation. These are for second and third year students. Don't touch the strings. They're so obsessed with this idea of symmetry on the new court building that the windows are designed to open inwards, and that's so that they wouldn't cast shadows on the front of the building on sunny days. It's led to a strange tradition where if a student wanted to open their bedroom window, you'd have to pay a small fee, give the college porter a tip, to get him to run across to the other side and open the same window on the other side. They don't do anymore, except maybe to mess with new kids. As I mentioned, St John's greatest rival is Trinity, and we're just passing into Trinity now. And coming up on my left-hand side is the Wren Library, designed by Sir Christopher Wren, hence the name. He actually said that it was one of the blandest buildings that he'd ever built. It's not the grandest when you compare it to St Paul's Cathedral in London, which he also did. Now, it contains around 75,000 books, including some very rare and valuable works, such as Principia Mathematica by Isaac Newton, a first edition, which actually has Newton's handwritten notes inside, some other of his handwritten essays as well. So a lock of his hair, which is a bit weird. With the earliest King James Bibles translated from Latin into English and also into Welsh. The earliest written rules of football actually kept in the library. As well as an original handwritten manuscript and illustrations for Winnie the Pooh by A.A. Milne. Trinity is the biggest college with the most amount of students. Not for you. No. God, even I'm poor that way. Ah, well. I'll have to deal with it.
Push on through, huh?
It's a very
dangerous.
Yeah.
1 hour will take 3 hours.
Or maybe he's trying to change direction, I
I just don't think he has a very effective method with a small
think.
Trinity's been home to some very famous and influential graduates over the years, including Newton, who was actually a student here and then later came back as a professor, and apparently a very, very boring professor as well. A group of students actually signed a petition to say that they weren't going to go to Newton's lectures anymore, so they were claiming that it was against their human rights. Also, the writer Lord Byron, the poet, caused a bit of a stir when he wanted to bring his pet dog with him when he first arrived. The rules at Trinity are very clear about not having dogs be allowed to be kept as pets. So he did what any normal person would do, and he went and got a bear instead. A black bear that he chained up inside his room and said, "I'll have this as a pet," claiming that it didn't say anywhere in the rules, specifically no bears. So we pass out of Trinity into Trinity Hall, a separate college in its own right, actually quite a bit older, about 200 years older. And we come under the Garrett Hostel Bridge, its official name, although it's also known by a slightly ruder name, which is the Orgasm Bridge. And the reason they call it that is because when people cycle up it, it's actually a lot steeper than it looks. So when you're underneath, all you can hear is heavy breathing and panting. And they get up to the top, and then a huge sigh of relief as they roll down the other side. Now, Trinity Hall was actually set up in 1350 primarily as a law school to train a huge amount of priests and lawyers that have been lost in the Black Death. And the building that we can see here behind me is called the Jerwood Library, and it's designed to look like the bow of a ship, because some of the very first books of maritime law were written there. It has a very good reputation for law, although its most famous student is Professor Stephen Hawking. It's here that he studied for his PhD, having done his undergraduate degree at the other place, as they insist on calling it around here. That's Oxford, by the way.
Hawking's still teaching here, isn't he?
He is, yeah. He still lives in Cambridge. He's just outside, about 2 miles outside the city. You see him every now and then.
Yeah.
He was actually here the other week, well, a few months ago now, actually, I think it was.
I
Outside
heard
King's.
about the story where he got pennied.
What are you, what, sorry?
When he got pennied, Stephen Hawking?
I don't know about that one.
Yeah.
He's a notoriously a bit of a flirt as well, Hawking. They were filming, making a film of his life, a fictionalised film, but he was there, he was on set anyway. And Felicity Jones was in it, apparently, who was trying to understand away with her.